If you're like me and you already have all the available fighters for Unmatched, it's time to check out some custom fighters. Today we have Kratos from God of War. And here he is, Kratos from God of War. You guys voted for him. He beat out Frodo here, but don't worry, Lord of the Rings fans, we will see this deck another day. Let's stick back to our boy here, Kratos. Checking out his miniature here. Once again, made by the Meeplesmith as always. I'll be surprised if we ever have one that's not from the Meeplesmith. And you'll notice with this deck, this is kind of a mixture of Kratos is from different God of War games. This is kind of from the newer ones like Ragnarok, where he has his axe, and of course Atreus here. But it looks absolutely fantastic. I do want to quickly compare it to an actual Unmatched figure here. Here we have Achilles, and you can see the dimensions look just perfect. They look like exactly like they're from the same game here. The dimensions are just matched up absolutely perfect. Meeplesmith does a great job every time. And then moving on from him here, we can take a look at his Sidekick Token Atreus here. And let's also compare to Patroclus. And you can see the similarities here. They work very well. Obviously, this is just slightly thicker, and the finish on here is a little bit more textured than the official ones. But if I ever get anything that's more this kind of acrylic disc, I'll let you know, guys. But this one works for the game and doesn't look too far off when in the game. Obviously, just a little bit thicker there. But it's actually fitting that we are comparing him to Achilles and Patroclus here, because they have a very similar effect going on with the pairing here. But before we get into that, we can also take a look at their health dials. I love how these ones turned out. Obviously, still working on getting those cuts just right, but it looks fantastic. I love how this one turned out. That is the one for Kratos. And then we can also check out our one for Atreus here. I believe I cut this one out a little bit nicer, but I love how these ones work. These are just wallpapers I found online, and it print them on there. Now let's get into the deck here, starting with our hero card. This is Kratos, a melee fighter with a whopping 20 health. I had this custom character before She-Hulk came out, so that whopping 20 health felt huge before her. Now we got two 20 health fighters here. And then we have Atreus here, a range fighter with a measly 5 health. And they are a move 2. And this special ability says, when Kratos attacks and wins a combat, deal 1 damage to all adjacent fighters. And it doesn't say enemy fighter, so keep that in mind. So he can attack his sidekick there. He has 5 health, so you really don't want to be taking extra damage. But it says you may discard a Kratos card to prevent damaging Atreus if he is adjacent. And we will get into that a little bit more, but this whole deck kind of revolves around Kratos here just dealing massive amounts of damage to all the people around him, just pummeling through every fighter he sees. And we want to keep Atreus alive. It's kind of a game of cat and mouse where the enemy's chasing Atreus to kill him first so that they can get to the God of War. And we will see on the back of the card here, it talks about the death of Atreus. It says, upon Atreus' death, immediately deal 5 damage to Kratos. Also, all Kratos cards decrease in value by 1, excluding the Omega card, which we will look at. So, as an enemy here, when you're fighting Kratos, you want to take out Atreus first. That'll deal an extra 5 damage to Kratos and weaken every single card in his deck. So it kind of creates a fun experience where you're trying to keep Atreus alive as much as possible. Of course, if you have him set behind and he's adjacent, he's going to start taking damage every time Kratos wins. So he's going to have to start discarding cards to keep that damage from actually hurting him. So yeah, let's look at the deck here, starting with, actually, let's take a look at the card back. This is one of my all-time favorites that I have. It's just nice, simplistic, but looks gorgeous. And we can compare it to another Unmatched card here with Achilles. And I said, looks like they're from the exact same game, same card stock, same everything. Let's look at that deck. Starting off with our attack cards here for Kratos. This is a 3 attack, 2 boost, 3 copies in the Blades of Chaos. So I've not played the newer God of War games, but I believe he doesn't have these 2. He has that axe instead. So I believe this is those 2 Blades of Chaos from the original 3 games there. But this is after combat, gain, and action. So it's a whopping 3 damage, and it's a free turn, and we get 3 of those. Once again, he's very scary when he gets up there. And each time he wins with these, he also deals that 1 damage. So you'll see he has a lot of damage output, but he needs to be kind of savoring a little bit so that he doesn't win too much when he's around Atreus and killing his sidekick there. And then the next one here is another 3 attack for Kratos, 2 boost, 2 copies. And this is, I am what the gods have made me. Immediately, if Atreus is still alive and adjacent, the value of this card is 6 instead. So 2 of those, very, very powerful. So huge incentives to kill Atreus off early. And then next here is an attack of 4, 3 boost, and 1 copy, and this is Omega. So this is that one card that I was saying before, that whenever Atreus is dead, all of Kratos' cards are decreased by 1, excluding the Omega card. So this one does not go down. This says, Kratos' abilities do not have effect on this card. After combat, if Atreus is alive, you may return this card to your hand. If Atreus is dead, the value of this card is 7. So one of the cards actually gets better if Atreus is dead, so kind of scary if it comes out there. But if he's alive, he just keeps on cycling this 4 attack back into his hand. So scary both ways. And then next here's our defense cards for Kratos. A 3 defense, 1 boost, 2 copies. And this is the Ghost of Sparta. After combat, if Atreus is still alive, the value of this card is 4. You may draw 2 cards. So once again, giving us an incentive to keep him alive. So really, it's a fun game every time I play with him, of the opponent just hounding him down and trying to run around Kratos, and Kratos just chasing him, dealing massive amounts of damage. And then this is our first scheme for Kratos, a 3 boost, 2 copies, and this is Rise, My Son. Atreus may recover up to 4 health. For each point recovered, decrease Kratos' health by an equal amount. So you can kind of, it's a risky play, because if you give all that health to Atreus and then he takes 5 damage, Kratos takes 5 damage as well. But once again, if you're trying to keep Atreus alive, it's kind of nice to be able to split some of your health among the 2. And so those are our first 2 schemes there. Our next scheme for Kratos here is a boost of 2 and a 2 copies. And this is Chain Reaction. Deal 2 damage to an enemy fighter in your zone, and then deal 1 damage to each other fighter adjacent to them. So dealing lots of damage, just throwing it. So he's a melee fighter, but he has a little bit of ranged attack here. And that's our last Kratos specific cards. Moving on to our Atreus cards here. This is a 2 attack, 1 boost, 2 copies. And this is Lajosta, I believe. And it's after combat, you may choose one of the following effects. Either move both of your fighters up to 5 spaces or draw 2 cards. So great cards for both of them. You can either run away with them, reposition them as much as you need, or just get a bunch of more card draw. Because remember, you can discard these Kratos' cards to negate that 1 damage that Kratos might deal to him. So once again, want to keep this dude alive. And then here's another Atreus card. It's a 3 versatile with 2 boost, 3 copies. And this is Mista. After combat, you may place Atreus adjacent to Kratos. If you do, draw 2 cards. So Atreus is going to keep his hand nice and full, so he can keep attacking there. And now we move on to our Any cards. This is an attack of Any with 1 boost, 2 copies. And this is Ambush. After combat, your opponent discards 1 random card and add its boost value to this card's attack value. So this can be used for both, so both can be dealing some good damage here. And then next, we have a 3 defense for Any with 3 boost, 2 copies. And this is Mangy Beasts. Immediately cancel all effects on the opponent's card. If Atreus is still alive, ignore the value of your opponent's card also. So, I don't know how many times I would say it. It's super, super important to keep this dude alive. But it's really, really hard whenever he only has 5 health and Kratos is dealing damage to him anytime he wins. So, it's a very, very fun effect here. Next is another 3 versatile for Any. A 1 boost, 2 copies. And this is Momentous Shift, a card we all know here. During combat, if your fighter started this turn in a different space, the card's value is 5 instead. Which is great for those melee fighters running up and dealing damage. And then next, another card we know very well. This is a 4 versatile for Any, 1 copy, 1 boost, 2 copies. This is Skirmish. After combat, if you won the combat, choose one of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 2 spaces. So very familiar with that card. Another classic card here is a 1 versatile for Any, 1 boost, 2 copies. And this is Regroup. After combat, draw 1 card. If you won the combat, draw 2 cards instead. Great for proccing damage on them. I like that they have 2 copies instead of 3 like most decks do. And then next here is a 3 versatile for Any, 1 boost, 3 copies, and this is Path to the Mountain. After combat, if Atreus is still alive, you may move both your fighters up to 3 spaces. And that is the last cards of our deck. Very, very fun deck. Let's take a look at my final thoughts. Alright guys, I don't even know if I have to explain myself here. You could tell exactly how much I like this deck when we were going through it. But I did want to point out, 15 out of the 30 cards here get bonuses if he stays alive. So It's not one of those things where it's kind of a side story with his main agenda here. You need to keep this dude alive so that Kratos can just deal massive amounts of damage. Because once he's dead, Kratos takes extra damage and everything slows down. Everything gets decreased. He's mourning his son there. So, pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to explain it anymore. So, let's take a look how you can make this guy for yourself. So if you'd like to get this fighter for yourself, starting with the miniature here, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I got these from the Meeplesmith. They have their website there as well as their eBay shop. I will leave a link in the description for those. And then if you want to get the Sidekick Atreus here, this is from Board Games Maker. It's the plastic token. I will leave a link to the one I used there. And then I'll also leave a link to the Dropbox where I will have the images so you can just drag and drop and get this exact same token. And then also from Board Games Maker is where I got the health dials here. Basically, these are the 2-inch cardboard punch-outs. I'll leave the link in the description for which ones I used. And then I will also leave the images for the front, the back, and the dial in the middle. You just need to cut out the little window and then punch a hole through the middle so you can take one of your extra health dial plastic bits here to keep them together. And then lastly, if you would like to get the deck for yourself, I also got it printed at Board Games Maker. I'll leave a link for the exact cards that I used. And then the artwork from the back to the hero card, as well as all the fronts here, is from Unmatched.cards. And our creator today is BlakPantha. So yeah, go get this deck for yourself. It's one of my mainstays, one of my favorites. So I gotta go, my toast is burning.